What's up, guys? It's Crash, and more of a philosophical video for you guys today. An article came out on PC Gamer yesterday, written by Morgan Park. I'll put the title up on the screen, and it kind of brought to my attention and kind of made me realize and put me in a lot of deep thought about how the landscape of AAA shooters and first-person shooters in general have changed a lot since the last time the big three released games. And by the big three, I mean Halo, Battlefield, and Call of Duty released games. The last time that happened was in 2010. And this article is a very interesting read, and our kind of paradigm, or how we look at shooters and their success, has changed quite a bit. So instead of putting the article up on screen, I think I'll leave the gameplay going, and I'll go ahead and read some things from this article, and then we'll talk about it at the end. But as always, guys, you guys are super smart, and I enjoy reading your comments on discussion topics like this. So let me know what you think and where your interests kind of lie right now with the first-person shooter market, and if you're branching out into other genres and things like that. Just kind of let me know where you guys are at in all this. But I'll just read some of these quotes and things that he talked about, and then we'll talk about it. I'll give a little bit of my opinion at the end, because after I read this article, I was kind of like, yeah, it kind of is that way. So let's check a little bit out about this article. So like I touched on earlier, the last time all three of the big shooters tossed their hat in the ring was 2010. It gave us Halo Reach, Battlefield Bad Company 2, and Call of Duty Black Ops. Now we fast forward to 2021, we have a modern Battlefield again. Halo came out with their free-to-play multiplayer campaign, was added later, and Call of Duty is Call of Duty. Every single year they're doing it again with World War II. And what's interesting is he talks about how the landscape has changed and the definition of winning has changed since 2010. Those games were the big shooters. Those were what everybody was talking about, wanting to play. And it kind of seems like none of the trio that released in 2021 were ever destined to become the biggest shooter in town. And this is to quote him. He says, "Because we already know which games are keeping those spots for the time being. Fortnite, PUBG, Call of Duty Warzone, Apex Legends, Valorant, and CSGO. It's clear the new shooters' real competition aren't games that came out at the same time, but it's the ones that have been around for years. Instead of the new games that are coming out going against each other, a lot of these AAA shooters that are coming out are going against big juggernauts that have become live service games that have stuck around for a long time. And maybe their definition of success is a little bit different than what we're used to. Your next game should probably be a first, or the formula as it is now is, he says the next game should probably be a first or third person battle royale or a wicked difficult tactical shooter like Tarkov. Oh, and it should also be free to play. And we know Battlefield is one of the only ones this year that doesn't have a free-to-play element as of yet. So that's kind of what there's, the common theme of successful games that are sticking around are either, battle royales or like tactical shooters, so, like Valorant, CSGO, Tarkov, Rainbow Six Siege. Halo has that free-to-play element. Like I said, Battlefield is the only one that didn't. Honestly, he says we're 6 years into the service game era. Week one sales are just one milestone in a year-long content plan. We think about a game's health in terms of long queue times, how many new maps are dropping, or whether or not cheaters are running rampant. And he goes on to say those might not be the best parameters to determine the success of a game. Lower week one sales aren't always a bad thing, or not necessarily game breaking like it used to be. They don't put as much stock in week one sales because the markets are so saturated, and it's kind of a long-term marathon for a lot of these games instead of a sprint. That's kind of one of the reasons I think we're seeing some of these sales this weekend. And then he goes to talk about how, some of the games that we think are dead games are actually not that dead. They're just kind of in a middle ground that's still successful, but they're still not Fortnite level mega games, and those kind of games are becoming exceedingly difficult to dethrone. Niche games can stick around too. The gaming world has gotten smaller at the top, so there's fewer games at the top, but a lot bigger in the middle. And he goes on to talk about an example, a really good example, like Hunt Showdown. It says it's an excellent, not quite battle royale game that you should be playing. It has a smaller than average maps, no vehicles, hard to use guns, and a dreary art style, and isn't free. It's the anti-Fortnite, and its modest player count reflects that. So there's not that many players, although they did surpass 32,000 concurrent players. So that's pretty cool for them. It's definitely still growing. But despite the lower player counts than what we're used to big blockbuster games, Hunt Showdown still receives frequent updates, seasonal events, and monthly cosmetics. So the game is still being supported, and that means it's also making money if they're going to continue to support it. So even with 32,000 players, an indie studio can have a successful game. And then he goes on to talk about where do COD, Halo, and Battlefield fit in 2021. And he says probably somewhere in that comfortable middle where popular games that definitely aren't the biggest games alive can still be successful. Now, these games still need a higher player count than smaller games like Hunt Showdown, like Squad, Insurgency Sandstorm by more indie developers. These large AAA studios have a lot of teams, but they still need to be up there, but they don't necessarily need to be the biggest to meet sales. Honestly, he says the middle rules. If you're exhausted by Battle Royale or is stressed out about Valorant as I am, the middle is where you'll find the great FPSs. Rainbow Six Siege is still going strong. Overwatch Splitgate is pretty slick for a few rounds. Squad is also there if you're brave enough. Honestly, he says what we've lost in AAA shooter showdowns, we've gained in a variety and longevity. There are always too many cool shooters worth playing, and that's a nice problem to have. It feels like we have more choices, and that's pretty much the end of the article in a nutshell. As far as my opinion goes, I'm really feeling that this year. When Battlefield came out and it was really broken, and even the design elements don't feel very Battlefield to me, even when the game works. The Hazard Zone didn't work out. It's almost like the COD multiplayer and like the Battlefield standard multiplayer, that loop of spawn in, shoot a little bit, die, spawn in, shoot a little bit of die, has become monotonous to me, and I've lost a little bit of that excitement to just play a straight up first-person multiplayer online shooter that I used to have. And it almost is getting to be where it takes more to get me excited about a game. And this kind of leads into where I think we're going to be taking the channel in the next couple weeks. I've really been enjoying Tarkov a lot. I've played enough placement matches in Rainbow Six Siege. I might try to make that push to platinum in Rainbow Six this season. But the Battlefield coming out in the state it did made me realize exactly what he's saying in this article. Even though these AAA games might be kind of upsetting and annoying, we need to give some of these other games a try, because there are a ton of more indie studios that are coming out with some really good games, and they're getting supported and they're worth checking out. I've been enjoying Resurgence on Warzone as well, Caldera, the new map. I kind of enjoyed it. It makes Call of Duty play a little bit more like a traditional battle royale. PUBG is going free to play at the early next year, and they're also coming out with a new map that is rumored to be based off flooded New Orleans in Louisiana. So they're still coming out with new maps on PUBG. Even that game's been out for a long time and still holds really, really, really good player counts. So I think for me, I'm finding more enjoyment in those more tense situations of Rainbow Six Siege, some battle royales, and especially Tarkov this wipe, where they added VoIP and they added inertia and a lot of really cool things on this latest update and Escape from Tarkov. It has really been holding my attention, and it's been so fun. I've had some very memorable one-of-a-kind moments having VoIP proximity chat in Escape from Tarkov. It has actually been pretty crazy. You guys can check that out if you want to see me play some of that. I'm over live on Twitch quite a bit. Guys, check for Twitch, Twitter, and Discord down in the comments below. I'm live over on Twitch almost every evening, and I've been playing a lot of Tarkov lately, and the VoIP moments have been priceless. But I think as far as where the channel's going, I'm working behind the scenes right now on the next big thing that I want to do here. If you guys stuck around this long in the video to get to this point, thank you so much. You're awesome. I appreciate you more than you know. And hopefully in the next couple weeks, we can start doing a little bit of a live show with some guests, some topics, and I think it's going to be fun. We're still going to cover Battlefield. I think the journey of Battlefield coming back, getting that game fixed and back in a good playable state that people enjoy, is going to be an interesting story arc that we're going to follow. But also, I think I want to branch out into some of those other shooter games, and this article really made me see that. So please let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I'm going to shut up and stop rambling. We'll see you on the next one.